Welcome to Financially Focused. My name is Denise Williams, your host. I am so excited because, you know, we have this Power of the Purse series where we're really giving you expert advice to fatten up that purse and, you know, build your strong financial table. And just a quick rundown, the financial table is your assets, your income, your savings, your mindset. We're talking about protection. We have just so many strategies, but we're dialing them down one by one. So I'm super excited to have my guest, Mrs. Denise Marshall Miller, Senior Investment Advisor. How are you?
I'm great. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you, Denise.
Thank you, Denise. Okay, so you see you get two Denise today. Now, I want you to take out pen and paper. This is going to be an action-packed episode because what we're going to do, we want to fatten your purse. We want to make sure you have more coins in your purse. And so because this is what Denise does every day for her clients, yeah, at the financial institution she works at, we're going to get instructions. We're going to get actions. So what I'm going to do is run through some assets, yeah? And we're not telling you which one you should choose. That's your decision. But what we're going to do is talk about the actions you need to take to get started. But maybe you have all of them and you've already been started. But maybe you'll learn something new. So stay tuned and be sure to visit our website, www.financiallyfocusedmedia.com. Sign up for your free financial independence course. I'll see you in a minute. All right, welcome back. This is Denise with Denise, yeah? And we're now looking at the assets that's going to help you fatten up your purse. So let me give you a quick rundown of what we're going to talk about. We're looking at real estate, stocks, savings accounts, certificates of deposit, digital currencies, passive income from the sharing economy, private equity investing, peer-to-peer lending, building a business, farmland, annuities, websites, money market accounts, and royalties. So did you get all 14 different assets that will help to build the power of your purse? All right. So we're now going to go in depth with Mrs. Marshall Miller. Get your pen and paper out. Get ready to take notes. All right. Then you do this every day, huh?
I do.
Yeah? Tell me about your experience. Why did you choose being in investing, in trading as a career? You got 3 kids. They take up all your time. Why did you choose it?
I was introduced to the business world in high school when I decided to do accounts. And I was fascinated with accounts. But by the time I got to university, I said to myself, I really don't want to be sitting down just crunching these numbers.
Right.
I want to be doing something different. And then I was introduced to financial management. And I found that I can crunch these numbers, I can look at these numbers, and these numbers can help me to make informed decision. And that's what I'd love. So I've always been someone that is keen to investment, and I think that really brought about from my dad, and just getting that introduction to financial management where I can actually look at a company financials and I can determine if I want to buy their stock and what would be the ideal stock price to enter. I said no more accounting, I want to be looking at investment, and it's pretty much been there. So my entire studies, both first degree, diploma, first degree and master's, has been centered around finance, investment.
Wow. Thank you. And you take time out of your busy day, mom of 3, wife. I mean, oh my gosh. What do you do for fun?
When I work out, I
Okay.
enjoy working out. I think that's my, if you want to say, it's a stress relief, but I really enjoy spending an hour to work out. I enjoy reading financial material. I enjoy, outside of financial material, a lot that has to do with creating mindset, motivation, those type of things I enjoy doing.
Right. Do you do any mentorship for young ladies?
I do. I actually do. I mentor students at UA, and I also have a mentorship at my office as well, within my company.
Awesome. All right, great. So we're asking everyone to get pen and paper ready. Okay, so I'm interested in real estate. You're not a realtor.
No.
Stay tuned for Financially Focused because we got a realtor coming up. But in terms of, you know, what do we want to do to get started? So we're talking about action. What would you recommend?
So if you're thinking about real estate, I really think that's a really good vehicle to aid your financial journey. So it's a good thing that you're considering real estate. And I've often heard the expert on that side say location, location, location. So I think what you want to do is that you want to align yourself with an experienced, knowledgeable realtor that is able to have a discussion with you, know exactly what you are looking for. What is your objective? What is it that you're trying to achieve? Is it just a home for you to live in, or if it's an investment property, or it's just an opportunity that you want to seize now and then you determine what you do after. So you want to be speaking to a realtor that is able to guide you where this is concerned. It would be good for you to start. I always tell investors that whatever you invest in, you need to start learning about it. Okay. So you need to be learning about what is happening in the real estate community. You need to know if you're going to take a mortgage, you need to be checking with the different institutions, comparing how are you able to do this. Is there any change compared to one institution to another as it relates to the closing costs? Just informing yourself about same. You want to have an understanding of how the title office operates. If you're going to be buying real estate, especially if it's the first time, you really want to align yourself with a good attorney as well.
All right.
That is able to guide you, because you don't want to buy a property and at the end it might be breach. The title has not been released, and the stories go on and on. So you really want to align yourself with the expert in that area. All
right. So I hope you're taking notes. So what we're doing, we're in the area of real estate. Get a good realtor, yeah.
And get a good attorney.
Get a good attorney. Find out what is happening in the mortgage area, yeah. And so that's your checklist. So let's keep writing. Up next, stocks. Give me like three things that I need to do if I don't have an account, and 3 things I need to do if I already do have an account with stocks.
So stocks is not a good vehicle. When you're looking at beating inflation, when you're looking at beating the devaluation of your currency, real estate stocks is a good medium long-term investment. So what you want to do is that you also want to shop around. You want to be talking to the various investment houses. What are the requirements to open an account? Typically, it's your identification, proof of address, which could be a utility bill, and you have this account open. You want to check what is the cost, what is the fee to purchase stocks. A number of financial institutions are encouraging investors to go online, and because they're doing so, the fee to go online is far more competitive. It's cheaper than if they were to execute. And what you want to do is that you want to immerse yourself in the research that is coming out from those financial institutions that you can read. And don't just limit yourself to one institution. You want to be reading, you want to be educating yourself, and you want to ensure that the Jamaica Stock Exchange website is your go-to website, because they give a number of informations, the financials for these companies that comes out, and just general companies that are listed on the exchange. So once you're looking to invest in the stock market, you look at the broker that you want. So you do your research,
Right.
then you arrive at a broker that is able, based on the service delivery that they have committed to give, the cost, you decide. Once you do that, the next step is that you want to be looking at their recommendations, and you want to be reading,
Yes.
and you want to be asking questions.
Yes.
And I often say to investors as well, and my very own children, whatever I buy on the stock market, I support. So if I go in the supermarket, I'm buying Grace, I'm buying Lasco. So you want to be supporting, because it hits the bottom line of these companies, which filters in their stock price. You get that stock appreciation, you get those dividend income.
Yeah, okay. All right. So again, we're taking notes and what just happened. With stocks now, you're doing your research. Once you choose, you support. So you buy the products of the companies that you're investing in. Generally speaking, to open the account, if you don't have one, you bring your proof of address, maybe proof of income, your ID. So at different levels, we've just given you some action. Now I want to put together a lot of the digital activities, because people are making money online.
Yeah.
So we have the sharing economy, but we also have digital currencies, and we have trading that can happen online. Mm-hmm. So in a general sense, if you're moving to earn money, to fatten your purse, yeah, get the coins in the power of your purse, but you're doing it online, what would you recommend? How do you make that mental shift to earn online? Then there's different ways: Uber, Airbnb, trading currencies, trading stocks. What would you say about that mind shift?
Okay, so I look at it in two different parts. So let us look at the investment part of it. What is happening over the last few years is that you are seeing a shift from traditional investment to alternative investments. So your traditional are your stocks, your bonds, your real estate.
Correct.
But moving into alternative, you're seeing the digital trading happening, and the digital currency trading. You're seeing a lot more happening on the private equity side. You're seeing a lot more happening in terms of commodities, or just the different ways in which you will change. If you decide to go to digital assets in terms of currencies and trading, that is where it requires a lot of research. We're at that period in which the market is developing, and as a result, there are a number of regulations are being considered, not fully in place. We have seen advancement in SEC, that's outside of the U.S.
That's the Securities and
Exchange Commission.
Yeah.
You would have seen a cryptocurrency ETF that would have started.
And that's an exchange-traded fund.
And that's an exchange-trading fund that is giving you exposure to cryptocurrency. So as an investor, knowledge is power. You have to be doing your research, and being at that infancy stage, there's a number of things that can happen. It do not necessarily go in the direction. So you have to understand the risk that you're taking on and determine if this is a risk that I want to be exposing myself to. So it requires research. We have seen what has happened to FTX. The leader of FTX is serving time.
25 years in jail.
Coinbase. So it's because of that infancy stage until we get to a regulated environment, know exactly what are the do's and don'ts. You're not there yet, you have to do your research.
Okay, so you're
Very
saying
important.
for the online, if you choose to make money online,
If
on
you-
the investment
on
side,
the investment side,
research.
yeah.
Okay.
If you're going to do cryptocurrency. On the online, in terms of increasing your revenue streams, the number of opportunities out there is unbelievable. It takes research as well.
Ah, so you can't just jump into
You
Uber.
can't. You need to spend some time and research. You need to know exactly what you're getting into. And your research needs to include testimonials, what persons who have done these experiences. There are some persons who will share YouTube videos about their experience, what are the do's or the don'ts. Your research needs to be including that as well, not just looking at what are the process to be able to be a part of Uber Eats, to be a part of the different sharing.
Yeah.
So research is a big thing as it relates to digital.
But it seems across the board.
It is.
Yeah, because
it
we've
is.
listed 14
And
assets.
research is common.
It is common.
It is.
All right. So in terms of persons who are just a little bit more risk averse, and they're looking at savings accounts, certificates of deposits, money market, what would be your advice for those types of assets that you want to use to add more coins to your purse?
So for those persons, you have there are opportunities that you can capitalize on, and no better time than right now because interest rates are high. It's elevated. We are in a high interest rate environment for the last year going into 2 years. It simply means if you're a risk averse investor that, hey, I don't want to be buying stock because I don't like how the prices move up and down. I don't want to go into real estate for whatever purpose. I'm not touching that cryptocurrency because the volatility is just too much for me. You need to be benefiting from the fact that interest rates are high. So the first thing is that you want to be looking, when interest rates are high, it's actually, it's from a policy perspective. It's from a monetary policy perspective, which is done by our central bank. So risk-averse investors need to have some knowledge. You don't need to be very detailed about macroeconomics.
Right.
And what is happening in this environment, not unique to Jamaica, what is happening across the globe is that interest rates have increased. What is the cause of this increase in interest rate? Inflation.
Right.
Inflation has gone up, and the different central banks across the globe, their tool for bringing inflation under control or reducing it is to increase interest rate. So here in Jamaica, you're seeing where our central bank was paying, move from less than 2% to as high as 7%.
Right.
And that is their tool to rein in inflation. How is it you as an investor is able to get the best out of it? Well, each week, the central Bank of Jamaica comes to market with a BOJ 30-day CD. And it's an auction. An auction means that you get to bid. You get to say, what is it I want for my money?
Yeah. Implicitly,
there's a cap, but in most cases, it's a very high cap. So we have seen BOJ 30-day CD given as high as 14%.
Okay, so stop right there. So what you're saying is I can meet with my investment advisor, my licensed investment advisor. I can give them instructions to say, I want to get a Bank of Jamaica certificate of deposit. Is that correct?
Correct.
And they can bid to have the interest rate go up.
Yeah.
And you're saying in some cases the interest rates have gone up as high
as
14%.
14%.
That is awesome.
So as high as 14%, whatever that amount that you're looking, you have that communication with your wealth advisor and they're able to put in that bid for you. You may get a partial, you may get full.
Right.
So that's one avenue for a conservative, a risk-averse
Right.
investor.
And I get my money back plus the 14%.
Certainly.
All
and
right.
you're investing with the Bank of Jamaica.
So it's backed by taxpayers' money.
It's considered to be the safest asset
Okay.
in the country.
Okay.
So that's one option there. On a monthly basis, the Bank of Jamaica comes to market with treasury bills. And typically the tenure of these treasury bills are 90 days and 182 days. It is also a bidding process.
Right.
So you're able to buy into these instruments where you're getting, so a treasury bill really tell our decision makers what the market is demanding, what the market is saying. You need to pay me for me to part with my money.
But you're saying some of us want 14% to
Yeah,
part with our money.
some persons want 14, some persons want higher because
Oh.
interest rates are higher. Inflation is high. So
Right.
as a result of inflation being higher and eating away the value of your money,
Right.
you're trying to say, I need to demand more in terms of the return.
Okay. So for money markets, fixed deposits, savings accounts, my job as an investor who doesn't want to take any risk is to shop around for the best rate.
Yeah.
And I can ask my licensed financial advisor to help me get an even higher rate
By going
in
into
these auctions.
Yeah.
All right.
And investors need to know that they can negotiate.
You can negotiate.
So
I love it.
a lot of investors believe that they're being told that this is the board rate. No, I would like higher. Or I'm moving. You must see yourself in a position that you can negotiate. You
I
don't
love
necessarily have to take what is offered.
I love it. Okay. So we have three more: building a business, farmland, and royalties. These are somewhat, alternative. But for the annuities, that's really under your insurance company.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So for annuities, what you want to be speaking to several insurance companies and comparing.
Right. So just for the record, an annuity is where you put in a lump sum and then they pay you monthly for the rest of your life.
For the rest of your life.
Right.
So you want to be checking what are the conditions with the various insurance companies, what is the fees, all of that, so that
So
you
we're
can
back
make
to research.
So you can make an informed decision. And
Right.
a wealth advisor there would be able to assist as well.
Okay. So with farmland, clearly we need to register with an agricultural society. But it seems like we're back to research because you should know what goods and what produce
Yes.
is a good seller, right?
Yes. So it's research again, because you want to know what are those produce that is in demand.
Yes.
You also want to know what are those produce that your government is pushing from the perspective there is a captive market for same. So as a result, they would be given incentives, whatever you need in order to produce. So take, for example, if the world is demanding Jamaica black castor oil.
Yes.
So is it that the government will be giving more incentive to these type of farmers, etc.? So the research is very key. It's not necessarily you going out there and doing, I love this particular crop and I'm doing it. You want to see where you're able to get those assistance from. So the research comes in. You need to be speaking with this government agencies that are able to guide you.
Yeah. Last but not least is royalties, and we need an attorney again. So we need them
definitely.
for the real estate, and we need royalties.
You need a knowledgeable attorney. We have to understand that for us to be able to make informed decisions, to make money, to ensure that what we invest in is protected, we simply have to pay for it. So we need those professionals to be able to guide us.
Awesome. So Denise, we've talked about the assets. We've given 14 different assets to put coins in your purse. And I hope you are taking notes. So in terms of now making the decision on how much we should be investing, there's a rule of thumb that we should be investing about 15% of our income. What do you say about that?
Yeah, so there's this rule of thumb for 15 to 20% of your income. That's what you should be doing. But what I often, each investor is different. And you really need to be able to meet the investor where they're at, and then you need to make some changes so that you can get to that 20%. So you might not be able to do 20% now, but over a period of time, I'm moving from 8 to 10, 15, 20%. So you want to be looking at where's your money going right now? What is taking your money? And be able to make some changes there so you can reroute to your investment. So typically that's the rule of thumb, but you don't want it to be a deterrent. So I don't want somebody to hear and say, hey, I don't have 15 to 20% disposable income to do this.
Yes.
But what I want is first that mindset that this is what I want to do. And once you have that mindset, you'll start to working on shifting things that you need to be doing different, simple things that you need to reduce doing, stop doing, so that you're able to revert, put the money in that investment vehicle.
All right, so I'm going to run down a list because I want you to take notes. I'm going to run down the list and then you can tell me what jumps out at you. All right, here we go. Okay, we want to, and here's some action tips. Assess your current financial situation. Define how much you want to earn in passive income. Because I know you have a 9 to 5, and if you don't, you have a business. So we do need some passive income. Consider your time frame. Identify your risk tolerance. Prioritize debt reduction. Plan for any emergencies. Set mind. Okay. So, Denise, I'm going to run down a list of action. So, Denise, I'm going to run down a list of actions that I think, we want people to take. When I run down the list, then you're going to tell me what jumps out at you, and we'll talk about it.
Sure.
Okay, so get pen and paper out. Ready? Okay. So we want you to assess your current financial situation. And financiallyfocusedmedia.com has some tools to help you with that. We want you to define your passive income target. Now, we know you may have a 9 to 5 or you may have a business that you own, but passive income works when you're not working. Consider your time frame. Identify your risk tolerance. Prioritize debt reduction. Plan for emergencies. Choose the investment vehicles, and we just gave you 14, okay? You're gonna set milestones, because how you know where you're going, set some goals along the way. We want you to regularly review and adjust. This is really where a financial coach, a financial advisor comes in, because you can check in, every couple months and seek professional advice. So I hope you wrote these down, because these are really, really important. So then, what jumped out at you?
Okay. So the entire list is
Okay.
important.
Okay.
But I would say identify your risk tolerance is key, because it guides or it determines the assets that you take on. What do you do? Because you don't want to be investing and you're not able to sleep at night. So determining your risk tolerance is key. The other thing that jumped out at me is the passive income.
Okay.
And I really love passive income because you want your money to be working for you when you're sleeping. I think that should be our ideal objective. I mean, 9 to 5 is great, but what if we're not able to work? You having a situation that you're going to pull on your emergency, and at some point it's going to be depleted. You need to be having other streams of income. So that's key. And the others that you speak of, as I said before, they're critical, but to help you to position yourself to be able to earn a passive income, yes, you want to be looking at your debt. You want to be paying down those very high debts so that you are able to put the money in that investment vehicle. So the list is quite critical.
Okay, you like the whole list?
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, so we have been, giving you a really comprehensive look at the assets that can put coins in your purse. And this whole series we're looking at is the power of the purse. I'm so excited to have you here, Denise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we've known each other just a little bit of time since our children have grown up together.
Yes.
I'm telling you, and it has been so great to have a like-minded person to talk to. And I think that's not on the list. Get like-minded people.
Oh yes. Your group, your circle needs to be a circle that challenges you.
Yeah.
That needs to be able to share information.
Yeah.
Because, and if I might share, just recently I called on you for some advice.
I know.
And what you gave me, I wasn't looking from that perspective. So your circle is very important.
Very important. Very important. Listen, we're all about, we've eaten at each other's houses, our children have played. And, when I talk about the financial table, it's a real thing. 4 legs is what makes a table solid. Leg 1 is your income, different sources. The second leg of your financial table comes from protection. And we're not just talking about insurance, but eliminating debt is a form of protection, because debt just sucks your money and you can't grow, right?
Yeah.
The third leg is that long-term savings and investing so that you can reach your goal. And the fourth leg is the mindset. And that includes being around the right people, being, what you listen to, what you read, all of these things add to you being a better person, having a stronger financial table. And we're just giving you 14 ways to add coins to the purse that's sitting on the financial table. Denise, you want to add anything, anything you've seen in your career in investment banking?
So I would want to put emphasis on the mindset. I think that's where it all starts. Changing the way that you think, changing the way that you view money, changing the way that you view investment. Thinking that it's not for you, it's for some other persons that look a particular way, that is from a particular family. You want to dispel all of those thinking and come from the mindset of abundance, mindset of, I can do this, I want to be financially independent. And as a result, you will start attracting that circle that we speak about. You'll start reading the material. You will start going to these AGMs, learning about different investments. A lot of the times there are seminars, there are summits that does not come with a fee, or we're in an age of just information. You want to be a sponge soaking up this. And once you start doing this, you will see that investment becomes an hobby.
Yes.
Investment becomes fun. It becomes fun. Yeah. It's just a way of life.
Yeah.
So that is what I want to leave persons with, that they need to change that mindset.
Awesome. Thank you so much. My name is Denise Williams. I'm your financial coach, and I really look forward to supporting you on the journey to more income, more assets, less debt, less stress. My awesome guest, Denise Marshall Miller, investment advisor, has been with us sharing so many nuggets. I hope you had your pen, paper out. Please visit financiallyfocusedmedia.com. Take our course, visit the website, see all the good stuff we have up there. And I will see you next time.